Welcome back to the Garden Hobbyists. It's now late March. We've had an interesting couple of weeks. Lots to show you, but there has been plant death. So I'm going to explain that. Unfortunately, I have been unwell. I had a nasty chest infection and it took me out of action for a couple of weeks. And that meant that for about a week or so, I couldn't get down here towards some of the tender seedlings. So let me show you what's okay and what's not so good. Okay, starting with the obvious, the sweet pea. There's some death in there probably, but most of them are okay. They have plenty of moisture inside these containers. The cosmos we said a few weeks ago, that's going to be potted off in a minute. That's done fantastically. This one less so. This is the smaller variety. And then up here we've done quite well in the lettuce. I transplanted these yesterday. So these are the red and the Webb's lettuce. They've done all right. And then the broad beans, they've done okay as well. So they're coming on quite nicely. And actually, if you come outside quickly, you can see that if you remember, we planted some peas early. And we did some parsnip. Now the peas are coming through nicely under the nets. The nets are keeping off the birds, which is good. And just coming through now, you can just see them coming through. Those are the parsnips. So that's good. And then again, quickly, you might remember we put in some fruit trees. They're starting to sprout as well. So we've got some things going quite well, but not everything. So some of the, tender things did die. We had a marigold death. So the trouble with the trays here with these covers is when you get sun from behind me here, they get super duper hot. And obviously, unless you water them again in the evening, they will die. So in this one, marigold, I had lots of twiggy dead marigold plants. The leek, which was planted way back at the beginning of January, they were all dead, so that's a great shame. It's lost probably a month with those. And there was nothing coming up in the lupins or in the, whatever that was, dahlias. Again, I suspect they got crispified. And then similarly here, there were some baby carrots, they got crispified. Looks like the beetroot have done okay. There's a few coming through now, so we'll see if this section here's got any growth. But I think looking there, we might have lost a couple of those, but we certainly got some survived. And what I've done, as well as loose sand on top there, I've re-sowed. So I put more carrot seed in there. This one is a celeriac. I'm not sure that's celeriac. I've left that one alone. This one is the thyme. I've re-sowed the thyme because, again, I couldn't see any evidence of any life, so I suspect they got crispified. Now, to be honest, I was quite surprised that this early in the season it got warm enough in the greenhouse to crispify the plants, but it got up to about 30 in there. And without water for 2-3 days, well, 7, I guess it was 7 days, that's what happened. So there you go. It happens to us all. Unfortunately, I was ill and my plants have suffered. That's the way it goes sometimes. But I've re-sown all the ones that have died. We'll see what happens the next few weeks for those. I've got a bit more sowing and transplanting to do today. Now, I had thought I might do the potatoes today, but it's been very, very wet. And actually, if you come look at the soil, and I'm obviously going to lay some more soil for potatoes, but if you look at the soil, I mean, it's okay, because this is a no-dig bed. But I'd like to have it probably best to leave it another week before we put this in. So what I'm going to be doing is putting the potatoes in this one, which will need refreshing. And if you look at this one, that one has been refreshed. This one is, yeah, it's still quite claggy. So I'm going to give this one another week, and then I'm going to put a refresh blanket of soil on the top, try and get rid of some of this creeping. This is a buttercup creeping in from the grass this side. And then we're going to refresh it, and we'll put a couple of rows of potatoes in next week, late March, that's okay. And this one refreshing, I need to refresh the one over there before we start thinking about new ones too. So then we are going to sow a few more things. I'm going to start some beans this week. I do a lot of the beans and the squashes and the pumpkins and the courgettes. I do most of those in April, so not there just yet. Oh, actually, it reminds me, I forgot the cucumbers. We did some early cucumbers and they've done all right. Last year, my cucumbers took ages. Look, they didn't go at all. I think I had a mouse in here which went num, 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 and they ate them. So up to this year, it seems all right. So cucumbers have made a good start. And they'll be through in the greenhouse anyway, so we'll grow some cucumbers in there with the tomatoes. The tomatoes and chilies that are in the house, they're fantastic. I'll show you those next time probably. But here we are, I'm going to be in the potting shed, and we're going to start off my first batch of runner beans, and I'm also going to do some sunflowers. Now, I have had a mixed success at sunflowers. I've got kids, we like sunflowers. I've got 3 beds up the way in the main garden, up that way, which I'm going to put back into no-dig bed, which is partly why there's so much cardboard behind me. Now, I find sometimes with sunflowers that they do best when you plant the seed directly into the ground, which is what the packet says. Equally, I've got a lot of wildlife and they get eaten, so I'm going to try some this way and try and get them out when they're, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches tall. and then others we're going to sow direct when I've done the beds. So we're going to do a bit of mixture, and hopefully we'll get some decent sunflowers this year. And it's hard here because I get a lot of wind as well, so sometimes I don't really like that so much, but you know, we'll see. So we're going to start off by beans and sunflowers, and then I'm going to pot on some cosmos in just a sec. Now for me, I'm going to do sowings right up till June of all these things. So I'm going to do a few. So we use these larger trays because the beans and the sunflowers are quite a large plant. I could probably do 2 seeds of the beans certainly in each tray, maybe even 2 of the sunflowers, which I'll then transplant later. We're going to see what this is a bit of an experiment really. Beans we'll do 2, let them grow on, and then I'll plant them out together in the module in the soil when we get there. Okay, so super duper weasy. These are a runner bean, which is a classic and a summer staple here. We like runners, we like French beans. I will be growing both. We'll start the runners because that's what I happen to have in my seed store. Big old seed, nice and easy. What I tend to do is pop them in sideways on, like that. And I'm going to do, in fact, what I would like to do is just work out the seeds I've got first. So I'm going to do it like this so I can see them. And then I'll just dip them in a second and put a little bit more soil over the top. Whoopsie daisies. There you go. So I put 2 seeds in every pouch. I'm just going to push them in so they're about an inch below the surface, just like that. And there you go. So these are seeds I bought, I think, last year. They're still, inverted commas, in date, but it doesn't really matter. And some of them are actually ones I saved from last year because I ran out in the packet. So I saved some last year and got what's left. And I think it's worth saying that sometimes it seems like gardening is an expensive hobby. And it can be. You can get a bit crazy at the garden centre. But it doesn't have to be. You can use seed packets year on year. They can last 2-3 years sometimes, perfectly fine. If they germinate, no big deal. So you don't have to spend a fortune. This is my usual, but no, it's not a lie. This is a compost mix. I'm using a general compost this time because it's a bit rougher. And these are big seeds. I haven't used a sandy seed compost because I find it quite claggy. And unless you've got little tiny seeds, I actually think this is a bit better. So that's a general seed. I mix into perlite as usual, which I've done. Let's look at sunflowers. There you go, sunflower seeds. They're quite pretty, aren't they? So these are your sunflower. They're exactly the same as if you get seed mix that you eat. It's just sunflower seeds. Good for bird food and the rest of it. And this is a variety I got from a shop that's no longer there, very sad, which most of you will know. So this is probably a packet that's at least 2 years old again. And I'm just going to put, I think I'm going to put 2 in every module. And I say with these ones, if they do grow on fine, I will end up putting, I'll transplant them into 2 separate pots. That's what we'll do. So same again, I've gone for 2 in each one of these pockets. Sub is on, and then just going to cover them up with a bit more of the soil. And then at the end, I'm going to get some vermiculite over the top. Give it a good water, add a label, and that's a few more things sown, ready to go. There we go. That's a new bag. Do I have an old bag? Have a look. Nope, one that bag there. So back in here. On the tool rack. I don't know about you, but I always like it when yesterday's me was organised and bought stuff that I'd forgotten about, so that's good. So yeah, I'm just going to pop that on there. And this is vermiculite, so again, lots of times I've said this now, this is a volcanic rock. It serves to help, he says this laughing, you know, lots of plant death, stop the plants drying out by having a moisture retaining medium on the surface of the soil. But as I say, it didn't work very well, did it? Because lots of plants died. And that is unfortunately the reality of not being very well. There you go. So I will put a lid on these because it's still quite early in the season. So I'm going to put them in the greenhouse on the shelves under one of the plastic lids over there. And then we'll see how they get on with some germination. No, I'm going to be coming down maybe every at least every other day now, I think, because clearly we're going to have to keep on top of this as we're getting into our gardening season. I always do. It just caught me out. I didn't think it'd be that warm that early, and I really wasn't in any condition for it. So that's that. Right, so that's that done. We're going to pot on some cosmos next. Okay, so I've done one batch of cosmos. This is the second batch. It's not hard. All we're going to be doing, nice and close to see, look. So that's the cosmos. Frankly, if I'd not been ill, I would have planted these already. I'm just going to, very simple really, we're going to fill up a number of pots with the soil I've already pre-mixed. And again, just just loosely in there. So I do a few at a time. I then like to take a lollipop stick and I will dip it in the middle and make a hole with the stick. A bit of a stirring action. There you go, make a hole. And then I'm trying to show you this carefully. What we're going to do, we're going to select plants, dig out the lollipop stick, and these have got rather leggy. Again, I should have done these already, so it's quite a big plant. So I'm going to drop it in there, I'm going to firm it in, and I'm going to bring the soil around it. And in a minute, I will put some more vermiculite on these ones, and I'll show you the ones that I've done just now in the shed over here, in a greenhouse rather. There you go, give them a good water. Those are the tall ones. Give them a good water. I'll show you in a second when I finish it. And that'll be that job done. I'll come back to you in just a tick. All right, I've done the batch one, so here they are. All finished. I'm going to give them a good water in the greenhouse. I think I'm just going to put them on the greenhouse bed for space. I'm going to do probably the same number again, because I like a bit of cosmos. I'm going to put it all around the edges of the bed, the veggie beds, to get in the butterflies and the bees and all the rest of it once the season gets started. Right, I'm all done. I'll show you the final cosmos. There you go. I'm going to leave them there, which is a little bit risky because if there's a heavy frost, they might leave it on the shelving, but there is one due next week, so we'll leave it as it is. That gives me a little bit more space here on the racking, which I need. So next week, I think we're going to do the potatoes. They need to go in soon enough, and we're going to try to keep on top of watering so you have no more crispy death. But I think it's a good lesson to know that even if you've been doing this a while, and I obviously have, crispy death happens to us all. So don't worry if it is a plant. There's no big issue. Particularly this time of year, we've got plenty of time still to sow some more. So if you have lost some plants, let's crack on, let's do some more and enjoy gardening, because that's the whole point. Honestly, if you enjoyed today or if you have any benefit whatsoever, please hit that like button and also subscribe. And I will see you next time for planting potatoes in the no-dig style, and I'm sure other jobs. See you soon.